Story that exemplifies how our netas simply can't do without VVIP culture being perpetuated. On the 20th of this month, former Minister and Congress MP Renuka Chowdhury held up an Air India flight and its passengers were kept waiting in the plane for 47 minutes because she allegedly was spotted shopping at the airport terminal. But when we confronted Renuka Chowdhury with straight questions about what actually happened, she not only completely denied all those charges, but also blamed the airline for putting out wrong facts.
There's a lot of talk about VIP culture. Why would you hold up a flight?
Yes. Why would Air India give in to a VIP culture? I don't understand that. Nobody stops and waits for any VIP. This is all poppycock, and it's a system that I don't know from where it's descended. Now, I'm asking one question. I was allegedly gone shopping, and that's why I was late. So I want to know, where did I shop? Who has made this accusation? That gentleman has to come forward and they have to establish and prove that I went shopping.
Okay, so you're saying that the airline has to clarify?
Yes, whoever. I don't know if it's the airline or the ground crew or who it is.
They shouldn't have waited for you is what you're saying, because you did say that you had a problem with your leg.
Yes,
Was that
I had asked for a buggy. The buggy wasn't there. I had to walk because I walked. The buggy is not a VIP service. It's a free service given for every passenger who flies, who uses the airport. It's one of the provisions. And it's not as if they haven't given me in the past. They have given me, to be fair. That particular day, there was no buggy. I waited outside, I waited inside. There wasn't any. Then I started walking to the best of my ability. And in fact, the crew members on board gave me a Ziploc bag with ice when I sat there, and I told them I need the ice immediately because my leg had swollen up.
Okay.
So they gave me the ice also, which I had kept for 2 hours on the flight. So I don't understand where the shopping angle has come in from. As far as I am aware, you can't shop without your passport and without you being an international passenger. Now, it has been said that I wanted to go shopping in Chicago duty free, and that there I was asked not to. I can't take liquor on board, and so I had my way according to what they're saying.
Okay.
And that I came here and I went shopping. Now, this is all complete untruths, and it needs to be established once and for all. We are not sitting ducks just because you think we are VIPs. We don't think we are VIPs. We are working on a endless job which has no working timings, no nothing. We do the best of our ability. But just because you think we are VIPs and you want to just accuse us of something.
In fact, while the MP is completely denying delaying the flight, Air India sources are telling Times Now that there was no prior assistant request made by the MP or any one of her staff members. In fact, some staff members actually saw her shopping at the airport terminal. Remember, it's one person's word against the other. Kashif Khusro joins us for more on that. Who's ultimately going to speak the truth, Kashif? Because the former minister is adamant that she was facing some problem with her leg. She had problem walking, which is why she was waiting for a buggy, was not shopping. What does Air India have to say about the discrepancy in statements from both sides?
Padmaja, when you hear the version of Renuka Chowdhury, the former minister, it speaks for himself that how brazenly there are so many loopholes in that version. She goes on to say that why was Air India waiting for her? They could have taken the aircraft and flown away. Now, that is a defense for the former minister. She said that she didn't ask them to wait. But on the contrary, what we understand from Air India is that it was her office which called the airline and said that she would be late and the aircraft could wait for her. In the second instance, there was a person waiting for her at the entrance of the airport with her boarding card ready. Three, she was upgraded in spite of being late to business class, her seat number being 1A. And all this happened while 200 or so passengers were waiting inside this flight 126, waiting to depart, and only because the VIP MP could not make in time. That is the version of Air India. However, the airline now says that they have ordered an inquiry. That inquiry is going on at this moment. A final report is expected by tomorrow. But also there are other versions of the cabin crew, the cockpit crew, the ground staff, all of them corroborating that the former minister was responsible for delaying the flight. In fact, there's only a one-line an official comment from the airline saying that yes, there was a delay of 10 minutes because of the minister arriving late. That is the official comment as of now, but quietly behind closed doors, and sources within Air India say that actually the cumulative and the loss subsequently because of that missing the slot, which was the departure time, the actual delay was about 47 minutes for about 200 or so passengers who were in that flight 126 on Friday 20th Feb.
All right, Kashif, thanks very much for joining us with that. But the rules, of course, are different for people like you and I. A flight can be delayed for a VIP, but for common people like us, this is the kind of treatment that we get.
Nothing is free now. Nothing is free, boss. Yeah. When you are late, you are losing your ticket. Nothing is free now. Nothing is free, boss. Yeah. When you are late, you are losing your ticket.
In fact, that was the episode that took place in earlier this month, where passengers who turned up 5 minutes late for a flight were denied boarding simply because the flight said, the airline staff said that they had been very delayed and the flight could not wait for them. Kashif, now that the inquiry is on, have statements been taken from the former minister's staff? What have they said before the inquiry panel?
Well, what we understand, Padmaja, this is an internal Air India inquiry. There will be no questioning of the personal staff of the former minister. The Air India staff at the airport, the duty manager, the ground staff, the cabin crew, the cockpit crew, all these people who were responsible to make sure that the flight departed on time will be questioned, their versions checked, and then a detailed report will be sent to the ministry as well. The ministry is personal, the minister himself is personally inquiring into the incident, is what we understand at this moment. But what we also know from our sources who were at the airport at that time, that it was the minister who was responsible. There was no special request as such. She was mentioning about a cart or some special assistance because her leg was hurting and she couldn't walk all the way at the Mammoth Delhi Terminal 3. But that all those versions are being debunked by the airline, and they're saying that there was no request as such, and clearly the minister at this moment seems apparently to be lying.
In fact, if you thought that that was arrogant, the response from Renuka Chowdhury was arrogant, then MPs have now demanded for even more special privileges to be given. In a meeting of the Lok Sabha House Committee earlier this month, members of parliament made 5 additional demands. They wanted a chaperone at airports. They didn't want to wait at toll plazas. And they also said that toll plaza employees should be more sensitive in their behavior.
नहीं, सांसदों को तो छुट्टी है, लेकिन मैं मानता हूँ कि गांव का एक सरपंच सामान्य, वो सरपंच को भी जाने की परवानगी चाहिए। ये भी राजनीति वाले लोगों का काम प्रश्न लेकर गांव ऑफिस में जाता है। तो कोई सूरत का जो गांव का सरपंच है, सूरत में आता है तो 10 टोल नाका आता है, तो 10 टोल नाका का सरपंच को जो टैक्स देना पड़ता है, तो सरपंच भी सूरत में उसका काम लेकर ले आ सकता है। जो कोई हर इलेक्शन में जीतने वाला आदमी को परवानगी चाहिए, छूट चाहिए।
In fact, let me go back to Kashif. Kashif, it's nothing new. MPs will keep demanding more and more privileges. But as far as the entire Renuka Chowdhury episode is concerned, and contrasting it with what happened earlier this month with a few other passengers who were trying to board an Air India flight and they were denied that access simply because they were a few minutes late, what about the culpability of the Air India employees? Why are they giving these privileges to someone who's been a former minister and denying the same to common passengers?
Well, that's the question which the Air India manager expects to answer in that inquiry report as to why did the employees adhere to that request of a delay. Was there a special request to the top level of the management which then percolated to the lower level ground staff? All those facts will be established. But yes, it is a very clear case in point where, Padmaja, you and I, when we go to the airport, we have to struggle, we have to ask even if you are 5 minutes late. But a former minister, MP, who makes sure that she calls from her office that she's coming in late, then ostensibly is seen shopping around in the terminal area, and then saunters inside the aircraft a good 5 to 7 minutes late, and then the entire delay is about 47 minutes to about 200 passengers, and then she comes out and defends herself, saying that she had a problem with her leg. So now, in the view of all of this, clearly those new guidelines which the House Committee has recommended plus what the Civil Aviation Ministry wants for the MPs. Basically, free fares and free train rides do not cut ice with our VIPs. Now they want some more. They want chaperones. They want privilege right of way at toll plazas. And this instance of Renuka Chowdhury clearly highlights the state of how our VIP culture is percolated in our society.
Absolutely, but a lot of MPs are still standing by these demands. Let's listen into a few reactions that we're getting.
Is it right for MPs and MLAs to demand for special privileges of this sort?
Well, there are different categories. If somebody falls in that category and that is acceptable and the provisions have been made in the law, then it's fine. Otherwise, it cannot be open for everybody, panchayat leaders and all MLAs, MPs to get those privileges. Whatever privileges are required, only those privileges should be given, keeping in mind the comfort of the normal passenger.
House Committee recently recommended that there should be more privileges for MPs who are travelling on toll plazas. They should have free access. In airports, they should show the MP card and get access to the various lounges. So what would you say about this? Because these demands, we see time and again, the number of privileges that are demanded by various...
privileges, according to me, should be most minimum.
MPs have demanded some new privileges in the airport. They've said there should be a nodal officer who should, accompany the MPs. They should help the MPs smooth passage as far as their travel is concerned in the airport till the time they reach the aircraft. What sort of a demand is that?
I am not aware of this, but personally speaking, and I speak for myself, I am against any special privileges for members of parliament.